A high-quality teleprompter, portable, travel-friendly, all-in-one. Did we find the unicorn of teleprompters? Oh, did I mention it's affordable? Hey everyone, my name is Zephan Moses Blacksburg. Thank you so much for coming back to another video on my channel. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button below this video. And in today's video, I wanted to share with you a teleprompter that I've discovered because over the past few years, I've been using a teleprompter that belongs to my friend for certain clients in certain situations where we need it. It's created by Ikan, and I liked it up until a certain point. You see, he bought a second one, and over time, both of them had issues with the locking screws that hold the glass up at a 45-degree angle. And so if you're spending $800, $900 on a teleprompter, I really wasn't excited about going and buying one of my own that was going to cost that much and over the course of maybe a year or so have issues. If you're spending that much money on a product, it shouldn't be breaking. So I discovered a teleprompter that I really enjoy. It's called the Pad Prompter. And I did a whole bunch of research just to see what was out there, what I could be using, what would work for my scenario. And at the end of the day, I realized that having a teleprompter that mounted to a light stand was actually something that I enjoyed way more than the ones that mounted to a rail system and onto a tripod. Being able to just pack this up, take this on the go, and not have to worry about putting the rails together and building this whole contraption really made my life so much easier. So I have to introduce the Pad Prompter. The Pad Prompter is basically the size of a laptop. It comes in this neoprene bag, and it's made originally for using with iPads, but I found something interesting about this that makes it that much better and that much higher quality of a teleprompter. So for starters, on the bottom here, you've got your two mounts, so you don't have to worry about any issues with the light stands when you go ahead and mount this. You've got both mount sizes, so it just screws right onto the top of the light stand. And then on the front of it, you've got these two little notches, and this is how you open it up. And because this one's relatively newer, it's a little tougher to open. So it opens slightly, and you'll notice that there's a couple of elastic bands. And the way this works is basically you've got these little flaps inside that fold out and keep this open. And the elastic bands keep the tension on it, and that's how it stays open. And it's this fantastic little teleprompter. I mean, this thing's probably, you know what? We have a tape measure and we'll measure it. It's only about 13 inches wide, and then the other dimension's about 11 inches. So 11 by 13, as you can imagine, that's super small, super portable. But I wanted to take this to the next level, and I wanted to make sure that I could do a whole lot more with this than just use this for playing back scripts, because if you know me, you know that I enjoy live streaming. I've got a lot of clients that are asking for live streaming work, and on occasion, when they need to bring in a virtual guest so that they can see and speak to them back and forth, we need to be able to have a screen that's either right next to the camera or, in this case, essentially over top of the camera using the teleprompter feature. So the one thing about this I will say is, while this was made for iPads, this is something that I've been able to use for screens, for basically these little monitors that were made originally for going on a camera or on a light stand and fitting them right inside of here. So inside, I tore it out, but there was a kind of felt padding that was made for, it was fitted to an iPad so that you could just pop the iPad right in. And when I took that out, I realized there's actually so much more space that this could fit a bigger screen than, say, I think it's the 8.9-inch iPad that this was made for. So I did the math, I measured the insides, and for those of you that are looking to do this too, just know that the inside is exactly 12 inches one direction, and then the other direction you've got about 9 3/4, actually looks like just below 9.5 inches. So about 9 1/4 inches. So if you found a monitor that would fit those dimensions, and then depth-wise, it's really up to you. I probably wouldn't get something that's bigger than 1 inch thick, just to make sure that it fits in here. But this has been a phenomenal resource for live streams when we've got our virtual talent up on screen and they can see and interact with each other. It's not just about playing a script back. It's so that they can see a video, whether that's their PowerPoint slides as they're speaking so they don't have to look off to the side. I know we have a TV over here off to the side so I can kind of see myself, but the last thing I want to be doing is looking off that direction in the middle of a video. So this is the teleprompter. Let's talk a little bit about what I've figured out with using a screen. So the screen that I chose originally is the Lilliput, and this is a 10.1 inch monitor, 4K compatible. I believe it might be 4K resolution, but I'd have to double check that. I don't want to promise that right away. It's got SDI in and SDI output, as well as HDMI in, HDMI out, and it has a VGA connection. But the important part was that these connectors are along the side and not underneath sticking out, because if we're going to be placing this inside of the teleprompter, we need to be able to have those cables come out safely. So just know that when you're looking for a monitor, you want to make sure that you get one where the cables will come out either here or maybe on the side. That way you can run your cables out. That's one of those things that if you don't think about now, you'll get the monitor and realize, oh crap, the connections are on the back and I can't lay this down flat inside of the teleprompter. But why is this not the screen that I decided to stay with? Basically, at 10.1 inches, I'll see if I can show you this. I'm actually going to break this down really quickly so you can see the dimensions of it compared to the teleprompter. So at 10.1 inches, it's taking up a good amount of real estate. You can see it's probably about a little more than half, maybe close to 2/3 of the bottom of the teleprompter. But the problem is there's still extra room, and with teleprompters, if you've used them before, you'll know that the bigger the better, because people have poor eyesight, people have trouble reading smaller fonts, so you want to make sure that you get the biggest possible size. So when I took that measurement, I found that I could get roughly, remember, we're at about 12 inches, one way, and just under 9.5 the other way. If I could find another monitor that would fit that a little bit better, we'd have a bigger screen and the client would have an easier time to read it. So what I did find was, if you go on Amazon, you're going to find a bunch of these kind of knockoff, no-name Chinese brand screens that are portable, travel HDMI monitors, usually powered by USB-C. And the 13-inch ones, if you check the dimensions, you'll find a couple of them that are actually going to be compatible. And at 13 inches compared to the 10 inches that we did have, remember, this only takes up somewhere around just under 2/3 of the space. It'll take up more space inside the teleprompter, and therefore it's going to give you a much bigger image on screen. With that said, they're only about $120 to $150 for the right ones. Just, again, double check those measurements. Remember, 12 by about just under 9.5 to make sure that the screen will fit. And then, of course, check the images to make sure that those connections are on the side and not on the underside, on the back side of the screen, and you'll have much better luck. Just in case you are interested in the Lilliput screen, 10.1 inches worked perfectly fine for a client. I used it just the other day. I did find a bag or a case that's perfect size for this. This is one of the Cinebags cases, and this particular model, I don't know that it says on here, but I could find this and link this down below for you guys. But this particular one is made for holding an iPad. Super easy to just open up the flap, and then you can stick your monitor right inside. It's really, really padded and protected. There's a couple different pockets, so if I wanted to put you could put your power cables in here. You could probably squeeze in another HDMI cable in here, a few other adapters and things, but just a really nice padded, protected case that's just a little bit bigger than the screen itself. And when you put it right next to the pad prompter in its case, they're almost the same size. So just imagine being able to travel with this as your teleprompter and then a light stand just to pop it onto. that screen, just a quick note as to how you would run the teleprompter, because it's an HDMI monitor and the other ones I talked about on Amazon are also HDMI monitors. You simply just plug in an HDMI cable to your laptop, your MacBook, whatever you have with you. And the app that I use is just called Teleprompter. It's in the Mac App Store. I'll also link to that down below so that you have a link to that as well. I love it. I've been using it for years. But that's my teleprompter setup moving forward. It's super portable. The pad prompter pricing has ranged from website to website, so I recommend that you go ahead and check B&H, check Adorama, check Amazon, because the price varied by about $100 depending on where you bought it from. And so I want to say that this was somewhere in the neighborhood of about maybe $300, just under $300, maybe $279-ish, depending on where I got it. And I think that's a phenomenal price compared to the $900 one that I was using from Ikan for so long. And then the monitor, Lilliput makes that. I think that was a little higher. That was probably closer to the $300 marker, just because it's a 10.1-inch monitor, HDMI and SDI inputs and outputs. It's a little pricier, but again, compared to $900, this is a highly affordable option that's large enough, and I feel confident bringing it on a shoot with professional clients to use and not having them say, oh, what's that little plasticky, junky looking thing? It looks good enough and robust enough that no one's going to question it when you bring it on set. So if you like this video, if you want to learn more about video production gear, some more about live streaming, some tips and tools along the way, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you find this teleprompter super helpful in your shoots. See you next time.